Well, welcome back to Cadwell Park. Before we get underway with the third Superbike race of this weekend, a quick reminder that the IAAF World Championship Athletics is on. Its highlights from Daegu, and that's 6 o'clock tonight on British Eurosport 2. Right, let's go straight over then to the grid for ahead of BSB at race 3. James Whittam is over there, and he is with Andrew Pitt.
Just on it, yeah, I've got Andrew Pitt with me. Andrew, your man finished 10th in Superbike race 1 today. Not the result he would have hoped for. I think he was in the frame to get that final 6th place in the championship going to the shootout. Any problems for him?
Yeah, we needed to beat Keogh and Kirkham significantly. But yeah, a few issues for Gazza this weekend. We've had an engine update and we've just been struggling to get it mapped. So we've got a lot more power, but we can't quite get it mapped, and we've had some gear shifting problems. But we've sorted it all, we hope, for this race, and hopefully can go forward.
Most of your racing was done on the World Championship scene, both Super Sport and Superbike. How difficult is it to come to a circuit that you don't really know, and a circuit as quirky as Cadwell? We all love Cadwell, but it is nothing like you're ever going to see in a World Championship. How difficult is it to kind of help and coach a rider when you don't really, you've not really ridden the place?
Exactly. I've done a track day around here. And
what do you reckon?
I'm glad I only did a track day down here, put it that way. I could never have imagined trying to overtake someone around here, but they do it. But yeah, I've been asking a lot of questions this weekend and just trying to learn the subtle differences for setup around here, because it is a unique circuit.
It must be a little bit frustrating when you're working with Gary, because I mean, I've known Gary a long time. I've been motocrossing with Gary. There's nobody who wants to succeed at this sport more than him. He would do absolutely anything to win at this sport, so it must be quite kind of frustrating for him more than anybody else.
Yeah, especially I suppose this weekend, because we had high hopes to get in the top 6, and Gary works as hard as anyone, trains hard, and he's focused, and but yeah, we can bounce back in this race and walk away with a smile on our face.
Any aspirations for you to keep going with this job, for gouring other people? You see yourself slipping into kind of team management or anything?
We might have to ask Mr. Morgan that, but yeah, I'm happy enough so far, and if he wants me to come back and Gary's happy, well, why not?
Well, you're still looking well, Andrew. Good luck with Gary in this race.
Thanks, mate.
Right, come on this way. We'll tell you where we're going to go. We're going to go straight down to, I reckon we're going to go to, no, we're not. We're going to have a chat with, if we can. We're going to tell you who we're going to talk to. He's in the front row this time. We're going to talk to Shane Byrne. We talked to him. No, we're not. We're actually going to go and talk to Mr. Laverty, because Shane Byrne has somebody with him. Do you want to go around that other side? Michael, close one. You've had one apiece for you and your teammate this weekend. A little bit of determination to put one over him just now.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll tell you what the best thing about you pair is. You're both fiercely determined. You're both in up front, both within one of the men who was going to win this championship. I think that the championship winner is going to come possibly between you and your teammate Tom Hill. And it doesn't really matter now whether you go and beat him or whether he beats you now, but it does in your mind and his mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know how the mental game works. There's only 3 points up for grabs, really, in the overall scheme of things for the championship, but it's a mental advantage. You know, we'll both want to put one over in each other, but it's a healthy rivalry. You know, the team's doing an awesome job and the bikes are good. And as you see, it's been almost a Swan Yamaha domination this weekend. We've won 2 throughout qualifying, throughout both races so far, but yeah, I want to come out on top. Tommy had a little bit more than me through the woodland section in the last race, but we've made a couple of tweaks to the bike this time that should help me in that area. I was faster than him in sectors 1 and 2, so if we can improve the last 2 turns, we can definitely beat him in this one, but we'll see.
You said your bike is good and his bike's good. They have looked significantly better than anybody else's. They've looked so settled, quick enough. They've looked the proper package this week in your bikes. What's made the difference?
I think it's just the team gelling as a whole, learning a little bit more about the bike. It's a very complex machine with, you know, factory electronics, the same as the World Superbike team. So I myself have learned a little bit more about it over the last few weeks. The frustrations of Brands Hatch actually, you know, helped me, you know, really evaluate where we were struggling, and that's made the difference this weekend. We've made a few changes with the electronics and made it easier for me to do the lap times, and overall, you know, just brought me up a level. So that's what we needed to do this time of the season, figure out those last bits, and hopefully we can carry it on right to the end of the season and fight for the championship.
I bet your brother John's now back at Royal Victoria at Belfast. I've spent a few weeks in there myself, so we'll wish him all the best and good luck to you in this race.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, man. Right, we're going to go next door to Michael, HM Plant Honda's Shane Byrne. We spoke to him before the first race. You were having a proper go there. You said you were using it as a bit of a test, but you were loose, you were having a proper gun. It looked like you had the pace to maybe push to the front there.
Do you know what? We've now got a completely different rear shock in it, totally revalve shock, and a totally different set of forks. We need to find the window where this new swing arm's going to let us work properly. And I just did 2 sighting laps actually to try and give the guys some feedback on the new stuff, and we'll try this now. And you know, it might be another step closer to them yellow things.
So it's a proper test.
Oh, it's a proper test. And like a little click of compression damping. It's like a completely revalve rear shock and totally different fork springs and all sorts. So
and if you've just hit on a perfect setting, you're going to go for the winner, yeah?
Oh, flipping right, yeah. I'm not here for second.
Shane, good luck, man.
Thanks, sir.
Right, we're going to go. Where are we going to go? We're going to go back one, Peter Hickman, because, are you with me? There you go. Try and keep up, will you? Right, we had a word with you before race 1. You said you had the pace to push for the podium, and you know what? You did. You just did a little bit better start. What's the problem getting it off the line?
Yeah, I mean, the start, to be fair, was fairly average, but...
That's what I meant, average. You don't want average start.
Yeah, I know, I don't want average starts. I was stuck really behind Josh for the first couple of laps, and after then, I kind of got Josh's rhythm in my head, and Josh's rhythm might work for him, but it certainly doesn't work for me, so I dropped off mid-race, and then once I cleared my head a bit and got me back into my own rhythm, I came back at him, but as soon as I caught him again, I just couldn't seem to find a way past, and maybe I wouldn't have been able to challenge for a podium, but I think we possibly would have been sat on the back of him. So
I think, for me, if you'd have got away with the leading 3, you wouldn't have been so far off, and that extra kind of incentive having them in front of you, you definitely had the pace.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I see it. So
safe enough? Was it safe enough?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I feel really comfortable doing what we're doing, and hopefully we get a better start this time, get them boys out of the way and sit on the back of them.
I'll let you get in the zone, think start. Good luck, mate.
Clutch and throttle, something along them lines.
I seem to remember something about them levers on there. Yeah. Good luck, man.
Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.
Right, we're going to go. I'll tell you what, we're going to go back and we're going to have a word with Graham Garland, because Graham Garland, number 81, the yellow plate signifies the fact that that is an Evo bike. The difference is the engine's not as trick, it's not as quick, it certainly isn't quick, we saw that, but this man is punching right above the weight of this class. Graham, you're riding this thing really well. You know, when you speak to your teammate, Glenn Richards, Glenn's a really well respected, done everything, been everywhere, and he says, I don't know how Graham is doing what he's doing on that bike, because he's on the same bike.
Yeah, I'm just riding the wheels off it, you know, doing everything I can, just trying.
You're enjoying it?
I am, loving it, yeah.
Because I've got to say, your riding says to me, I'm having a real ball here, and you kind of know you're beating people you shouldn't technically be beating because of the bike you're on, but you look to be having fun.
Yeah, no, I am, I'm really enjoying it, you know, just need to do the same again now.
Good luck, mate. You get your helmet on, it's time to go. That's Graham Garland really punching above his weight in the Evo class. A really good bike. I mean, it shouldn't be as quick as the other bikes. It isn't as quick as the full-on Superbikes, but he's riding it really well. And next to him, he's got reigning champ, 3 times champ, Yuichi Kiyanada. That's got to be a good place to start from. He needs a start. And that's it. Tony, take it away, son.
Thank you very much, Whit. Yes, only a minute or so to go until we get underway in the 3rd MCE British Superbikes race of this weekend. I'm joined by Ian Wallacott, team owner of Tyco Honda Racing, formerly Key Garage, of course. He wanted me to get all that in. That's all the titles, I think, there, isn't it, Ian? Let's talk about your rider, Peter Hickman, because he's out there doing the business, really solidifying his performances on your bike. A shame he didn't make it into the top 6, but you've got to be pleased with his progress this year.
Yeah, you know, it's a new team for us this year. We had a new sponsor this year. Peter, we had a chat off season. Really impressed what he's done on basically inferior equipment on the previous years. He's done it this year, and look, boys, he's done a brilliant job. You know, finished second at Thruxton. Always there or thereabouts, which is good. And this weekend, he's been absolutely on it all weekend. He's been in the 27s all weekend, constantly on the back of them. Brilliant job.
Massively impressive, but what do you put that down to? Is it the rider? Is it the guys around him? How has he gelled with your established team?
One of the things that we looked at with Peter was that he's brought his crew with him and so forth, who are fabulous guys, who really are. You know, his dad, massively experienced in this paddock and over the years, and he's very good. And that brings a good expertise to the paddock. And so essentially we're 2 privateer teams from last year. We've gelled together, and look, it's working, isn't it? You know.
It definitely is working. 2 privateer teams from last year. Got to ask you about next year because people's minds are starting to flick onto the 2012 season already. Will we see you out there?
Yeah, because you're going to give us £1 million, aren't you? So that's going to be no problems at all.
Yeah, dip into the back pocket.
Obviously we'd like to be here. We've done a good job. I think we've, certainly, we've had a bit of a learning curve this year, so it's been a bit of a gelling together and everything else. We certainly want to stay with, and carry on what we've achieved this year.
Hopefully we'll see you out there. Ian, well, I'll let you go. We can hear the bike starting to warm up. We'll let you go. Thanks for talking to us.
Bye now. Thank you.
There we go. Ian Willicott, then the team owner of Tyco Racing Honda. Let's get on the gas then with the third MCE British Superbikes race here at Cadwell Park. Hand over to our commentators for this one. James Whittam has made his way back to the commentary booth where he sits alongside Jack Bernicle.
Here I am once again in my guise as Angus Loughran, the highly respected Mr. Stato, to inform you that man you've just seen rush through your screen, number 1 on the black and orange 8M Plant Honda, Yuichi Kiyanari. It's his 140th British Superbike outing right here. He's had 43 wins in that time. That's a pretty fine ratio. He's not the only man reaching a great milestone in his British Superbike career, because the man who rides alongside him at HM Plant, who clinched his first British Superbike Championship here at Cadwell Park for Monster Mob Ducati back in 2003, Mr. Shane Shaky Byrne, is riding his 190th British Superbike race here right now, with 31 wins during the course of that career. The standings look like this. Shaky Byrne is on top, 287. Tommy Hill on 255, John Hopkins on 231, Michael Laverty on the second Swan Yamaha, 208, Josh Brooks, Relentless Suzuki by Taz, assured of being in the showdown now on 159, and Yuichi Kiyanari just needs a couple of more points to make sure he too goes through there. But John Kirkham, Samsung Suzuki, 18 points back, is still in with that tiny chance of getting by. If Kiyanari went out and Kirkham could finish second, well, anything's possible. Gary Mason on 131 is in 8th place ahead of Michael Rutter, not out of course with those injured ribs, and Peter Hickman in 10th place. 11th for Stuart Easton, so wonderful to see him back and looking well. Loris Spaz lies 12th ahead of Chris Walker and Martin Jessup. James Westmoreland, who assures me he'll be back racing at the next round at Donington Park, is in 15th place ahead of Dan Linfoot, Alex Lowes, Glenn Richards, who leads the Mirror.co.uk Evo Championship, Tommy Bridewell and Graham Gowland. The starting grid for the third and final British Superbike race of the weekend at Cadwell Park. Michael Laverty once again on pole position for Swan Yamaha, ahead of HM Plant Honda's championship leader Shane Byrne and Swan Yamaha's Tommy Hill. Second row, headed by MSS Colchester Kawasaki's Alex Lowes, from Relentless Suzuki's Josh Brooks and Tyco Honda's Peter Hickman. Row 3, Yuichi Kiyanari, defending champion, ahead of Graham Gowland on the Evo Honda and John Kirkham's Suzuki, and then Martin Jessup's Ducati ahead of James Ellison's Honda and Gary Mason on the second Colchester Kawasaki. When the lights go out, the race will be on, and it is. Look at the front of those bikes rise, particularly on the HM Plant Honda. Great start by Shaky Byrne, but he just caught a wheelie at the wrong moment, and Laverty swoops round the outside through Coppice, and that distinctive Irish green helmet is into the lead, with Josh Brooks bursting through to third place on the black Relentless by Taz Suzuki.
Yeah, just ahead of Tommy Hill is Josh Brooks, and Tommy's got work to do now. He's going to chase his teammate Laverty down. Here comes Shane Byrne up the inside in the park corner. Well, clean.
Shaky said he went and did a couple of sighting laps to give the team. So,
close.
Dear. And with a new rear shock and new front forks in, Shaky's into unknown territory here, but he's at the front and he's going for it.
He is. I'll tell you what, that was really, really close. Shane Byrne went up the inside of Laverty into park. He ran it wide coming out. Laverty tucked it back up the inside, and then Shane Byrne cut his nose off going into Chris Curve. That was close.
Now Shaky taking the long route into the chicane. They've all bobbed through, with Alex Lowes having started brightly ahead of Peter Hickman there.
It is.
Number 60 Hickman, behind him John Kirkham.
Yeah, Hickman. Josh Brooks caught the curve there. That was another close one.
And as they flick their way through that fabulous, exciting woodland section and emerge at the hairpin, the bottom gear, 45-mile-an-hour right-hander, the front four have just broken slightly clear of Alex Lowes and Peter Hickman as they dive down through Barn Corner.
Yeah, Pete Hickman made a terrible start there. He was hoping to get away with the front 2 or 3, and I'm sure that Hickman would have had the pace to go with it, plus the extra incentive of having somebody really quick in front of him, you know.
He did say, James, after the first, when I spoke to him after the first race, that he was kind of saying inside his helmet, slow up a bit, guys. He was just hanging onto their shirt tails and really putting everything on the line to stay with them.
He was doing the times.
He was doing the times, exactly was. That's what I said to him. Here comes Tommy Hill thinking about a pass on Brooks. That's not going to happen. Alex Lowe's fast. Alex Lowe's fast through Park.
Oh, he's
got off. He went so fast through Park, and then the bike vaulted off. James, I think that went wrong from going through Park. He really went fast through the mid-turn.
He went fast through mid-turn, but he actually went. He went wide and clipped the grass. He kept the throttle open when he was running wide, and just clipped the white line, dropped onto the grass.
Shaky Burns in real bother. It started at the bottom of the hill at Mansfield, and then he only just made that turn, and he eventually had to bail out of going into the chicane.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He did.
Well, everything's going off here. So we've lost Alex Lowe's. We've almost lost Shaky Burns.
Yes. He got on the grassy
James, that was caused by that high speed through the mid-corner. He ran it wide and he just couldn't bring it back.
Dead right.
As they come now through, now it's Michael Laverty who's counterbalancing his way through the hairpin. There's Josh Brooks riding aggressively in third place on the Suzuki. And behind him now, Shaky Byrne leads that second wave with Peter Hickman right behind him. So Hickman now in fifth place ahead of Kirkham, Kianari, Gowland, Scott Smart, Gary Mason rounding out the top 10. This is a terrific incident-packed race already.
You really don't know where to look because you're going to miss something.
Now again, as they come surging down towards Park, we now have a Swan Yamaha 1-2 once more.
Yep, yellow flags out, no overtaking in that sector. It'll be back to greens when they go into Chris's. You see, there's the marks left by Alex Lowe's. He's up and about. He did that, that's a long way. The point at which he lost the rear when he dropped it off that curb onto the grass and it spat him off, that's a long way to the barriers where he just about hit with his back.
And I think his motorcycle is still rather spectacularly parked up in the fence at the far end with a couple of bales round it.
Absolutely, yeah. I once crashed a fast orange Yamaha going into Chris's the next curb, and actually the bike flipped up and vaulted the fence and landed on the bonnet of a car of a couple who were watching there. So, you know, it's possible.
They'd have been well pleased with you, James.
They didn't speak.
Incapable of it. Look at this, the battle for Evo Honours, and Scott Smart, number 88, who's always enjoyed himself around this place, has the red Moto Rapido Ducati right there behind.
Tommy Hill in the lead now.
Tommy Hill has found his way past Michael Laverty. I bet he did it at the hairpin.
I bet he did exactly the same, yeah. That's his sort of signature pass here at Cadwell.
But Laverty comes surging back inside. No, not quite. Interesting. Talking to Gary Eckerold, their team manager, James, he said people don't realise how good Michael Laverty is. They know how good Tommy is. We all know how good Tommy is. But Michael Laverty is a bit of a dark horse in the race for the championship.
Oh, absolutely. No, he's not a dark horse in my book. Not at all. He was amongst the people, I think. He comes up the inside, and that'll work as long as he doesn't run wide. Tommy tucks up the inside in case he does run it wide and slow down. Nah, good move.
This is great riding.
Gary Eckerold is saying that Laverty is a dark horse, but when this championship started, I had Michael Laverty down as one of the men who could win the championship. The only thing that stopped him running at the front all this year is that horrendous crash at the beginning of the year at Brands Hatch on the start and finish. That set him back. Other than that, he's been running up front all year.
And here they are on the fourth lap of 15. It's not as far as we've got. There's been so much going on. And Michael Laverty back in front of Tommy Hill. So Tommy's got to find another way of stamping his authority on his teammate. And clutched right up behind them once again. Hickman on the Tyco Honda, running the pace of the four men in front of him, just as he did in race one.
Exactly.
And that time, look at that, clever Laverty just defends his line into the hairpin, doesn't leave any inside line for Tommy Hill to take.
Hickman said that the problem is, you know, catching somebody and actually sticking with him is a completely different thing round here than getting past, and he just didn't have an opportunity to get past. Kirkham's having a good ride as well.
So is Keogh. Keogh is finally showing some form and riding in the mid-27s. Kirkham rode his fastest lap of 27.7 on that lap, but the fastest man on that lap was Yuichi. No, it was Graham Gowland was fastest man on that lap. No, it wasn't. Gary Mason. And we've lost Brogan. Steve Brogan's gone out, coming back from...
What are you talking about? Just it's green, it doesn't mean it's quickest. Quickest man that lap was Kianari.
It was Kianari, sorry, it was Kianari, I beg your pardon. Thank you, James. I was trying to look in three places at once. I only have two eyes. This is Laverty dropping down to Mansfield. Josh Brooks now running seemingly comfortable with the pace of the Swan Yamahas that have looked so dominant all weekend.
Kirkham's on the back of these, you know, in 6th. There he is, he's right with them.
Yes, Kirkham has closed the gap. And behind him is his rival for 6th place in the championship, but the man most likely to succeed and be in the showdown, Yuichi Kianari.
In actual fact, you know, I'll tell you who's fairly impressive over the mountain. Hickman. Peter Hickman's got a really nice, kind of relaxed, takes a little bit of, oh, here we go, it's all going on. That was Tommy looking up the inside of his teammate Laverty, and Josh Brooks trying to capitalise on that, you know.
Josh would think he could split the two of them at the hairpin and carve his way through, looking for the outside line as they go down the straight. 2 Yamahas, a Suzuki and 2 Hondas, the 5 riders at the front. Incidentally, James, the battle for the manufacturers' honours is really close. Before the first race today, there were 4 points between Honda and Yamaha at the top, with Suzuki just another 15 points back.
Yeah, it's been
really
good
tight.
And you know, while we've got time, the championship rules are going to change for next year with regards engine rate, well, bike spec really. And one of the things they're really keen to do is preserve this kind of parity between the manufacturers to allow a certain amount of tuning, so that if your bike's just not as competitive as a standard bike, it allows you then to make it competitive in this superbike class. And I think they've got it just about right, I've got to say.
Talk about the mirror.co.uk Evo class that they're going to be based on next year, James. Look at Gowland. He's moved to 8th place, ahead of Gary Mason and Martin Jessup, clear of Scott Smart in 11th. So Gowland having another remarkable ride here, leading the Evo class. There's number 1, Kianari, he's lying ahead of Gowland in 7th place.
I honestly think Gowland is going to be a threat, not maybe for the championship next year, but I think he's going to be running top 5 a lot of the time. I do.
Oh, look at them skipping over. Here comes Tommy. Oh, he went a little bit wide in the hairpin, lost the advantage, but I love the way he just skipped across the crest into that hairpin.
Do you know, if you've ridden around here, Jack, it's impossible to see how you can get to. You can see how you can make a pass there, but it's difficult to see how you can make a pass and make it clean. There was 2 passes there, Tommy on Laverty, Laverty on Tommy, and they never went anywhere near each other, really. That's fantastic.
So these 2 young men riding for the...
Here we go.
This is Tommy Yamahas.
Tommy sets it up, but Laverty's a bit wider than he has been there. Tommy has to go in a bit tighter, then has to run wide. Laverty tucks it back up the inside. Clean as a whistle, and how do you do that when there isn't room? Brilliant.
It shouldn't happen. What's going on? Well, at the moment we've got the number 7, Michael Laverty, who incidentally turned 30, you know, on the 17th of June. So distant birthday greetings to Michael Laverty. He's finally hit the big 3-0. Tommy Hill, 26 years old, from Lingfield in Surrey, in the white helmet right behind him on those distinctive Swan Yamahas.
Tommy's having a look anywhere he can, and you know, he's having a look into that little chicane there. That's an almost impossible place to pass without upsetting the rider you're overtaking. You know, it's almost bound to be a block pass there.
And now as they come, look how closely he's riding to the back wheel of his teammate.
Yeah, you know, some riders are happy to do that, some aren't. Tommy really seems to be, and is he going to set you up again? You'll see him go wide. No, he isn't. And I think Laverty's sussed this out, because if you look on the left before the right-handed hairpin, actually Laverty's running it a little bit to the right now, not allowing Tommy to get it level before the hairpin.
And as they whistle across the line now, it's Laverty 27.6, Hill 27.6, Brooks 27.7, Byrne 27.8. And the other 27.6 was Kianari in 7th place, who's inching in on the guys in front of him all the time. Tommy Hill just occasionally shaking his head as if to say, I can't work out how to do this. And Michael Laverty so late on the anchors into park.
He is good there, yes, he is.
Scott Smark's been edged back by the SorryMate.com Honda of James Ellison into 12th place, ahead of Tommy Bridewell on the Motorpoint Yamaha, and then Glenn Richards 14th. Carl Harris once again in the points on the split lap Aprilia.
Tommy's good there, you know, he's good at Mansfield. Not brilliant on the brakes to Mansfield, but lets the brakes off and really carries some mid-corner speed through the middle of the corner. And it's a difficult corner, is Mansfield.
Tommy once again tries that in-tight gallop up the road towards the foot of the mountain.
Looks impressive till they get level with the camera and you realise he hasn't got anywhere near that.
And Brooks getting big air time again, as he ever does across the mountain. Oh, and once again, Tommy tries it. This time, can he hold it tight, or is Michael back? He is.
You can't, honestly, you can't do that, boys.
They've got that perfectly theatrically rehearsed.
They have, yep. It is choreographed, is that?
So we're at half distance here in the second of the British Superbike races of the day. It's an absolute three-way belter. And Hickman, that's where Hickman tends to drift wide when he's really trying hard,
Very
James,
wide, yeah.
coming through coppice.
Yeah, it's an indication of how much he is trying. That's all right. You're never going to crash there because the camber saves you, but it does put you offline for Charlie's.
Breaking once again into park, the two Swan Yamahas together, and then Shaky Byrne just behind the black Suzuki of Josh Brooks. Peter Hickman in 5th, John Kirkham running close in 6th, and Kianari in 7th. And this group with an advantage of about 9 seconds over Graham Gowland, Gary Mason, James Ellison.
Yeah, Tommy's not going to do it there. He knows he's quick at Mansfield and he keeps having a look, but I just don't think there's any way through. You know, he's not enough quicker than Laverty. Laverty's just about doing everything right here. He's defending where he needs to do without, you know, defending that much. It's costing himself time. He's riding well. Laverty likes to be at the front, and he's setting a good pace, and he knows it's difficult to get past here at Cadwell.
He's becoming, it seems to me that he's getting more and more like his kid brother Eugene, because they both really impassively lead the front of a race without any mistakes.
I will predict that he's not going to allow Tommy Hill to do what he's been doing at the hairpin any other time. I don't think it's going to happen again.
Tommy shook his head again as he came down out of barn. As if I think it's an indication to his pit crew.
Of his frustration, maybe.
Yeah. Josh Brooks sitting strongly in 3rd place. He'll be enjoying the fact he's running so much on the pace of the Yamaha and the HM Plant Honda, I think.
Yeah, I do think
this is 4/6 of the showdown, James, before us.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's right.
That would actually be 2/3, wouldn't it? Yes, that would be a better way of putting it.
I'm not good with fractions. We'd stop with those by the time.
So Michael Laverty just in the lead from Tommy Hill. Josh Brooks in 3rd, Shaky Byrne in 4th. So we've got 2 of the Swan Yamahas, Brooks on the Suzuki, Shaky Byrne, HM Plant Honda. Peter Hickman still there with his head down in 5th place, ahead of Kirkham and Kianari. Martin Jessup has finally, as he did in the earlier race today, found a way past Gowland's defences into 8th place. Gowland is now 9th with about a 1 second advantage over Gary Mason's MSS Colchester Kawasaki.
Yeah, I saw Martin Jessup leave the pits on his way out for his warm-up lap, and normally laid back kid here's
Tommy again.
Oh,
and that worked.
Well, it did work, but that was more of a block pass. That was Tommy going through, despite the fact that Laverty wasn't allowing him to go through, you know, and that's why it held Laverty up, because he wasn't expecting it that lap.
And it gave Shaky Byrne a chance to just think about making a move through, but he stayed in 4th place.
I think, here we go, look. Now that's Laverty running wide. He doesn't think there's going to be any room. He cuts it back away, and that's why he had to sit it up, and that's why he didn't have the time to get back and set up the repass on Tommy.
It all makes sense, doesn't it, when you see it, when you're able to kind of explain it like that, every little chapter as it unfolds.
Yeah, it was the surprise of Laverty's that sort of told you that, you know.
On the 11th lap of 15 then, 2/3 distance in this fairly enthralling final race of the August Bank Holiday weekend at Cadwell Park. Over 50,000 fans have turned up today to enjoy the action here. It has been a terrific and compelling day's racing, and Peter Hickman is once again closing the gap a bit. Kirkham and Kianari trying to come with him. Yeah, Hickman's last lap was a 27.8, which pushed him right on a par with Laverty in 2nd place. The other guy's just a whisker quicker. Shaky Byrne getting that big time.
But kind of all right. Not as scary as what it was at the beginning of the weekend. Tommy a little bit wide there in the first part of Hall Bends.
And then those bikes growl, don't they, as they burr into the right-hand hairpin there in bottom gear.
Yeah, you've got the growling noise is the noise of the Yamaha. It makes it although it's an across-the-frame 4-cylinder 1000cc, like the rest, or most of the rest, with the exception of the Ducatis of Jessup, the fact is it fires a completely different firing order. So it does actually, it sounds like it's kind of the flat note of a growling twin rather than a screaming 4, as the Hondas are.
So those growling Yamahas lead the way. What they're really after, I suppose, James, what they'd like to have is another 1-2. I mean, they can sort the order out between themselves, but it would then become a Swan Yamaha whitewash. But Josh Brooks in third, Shaky Byrne in fourth. Very much using this outing, Shaky Byrne, as a track test, but nonetheless enjoying the fact that he's running at the pace of the three guys in front of him very comfortably, it looks like, at the moment. In fact, Shaky hasn't been producing those rather lurid slides and moments that he had in the race earlier today.
No, the bike does look more settled at the same pace.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever changes. And you know, it's only the fact that he's leading this championship and he can't get sort of dropped out the top 6 at this meeting. You know, and obviously he's going to be a bit more serious when he gets to the last 3.
This is Gary Mason and Tom Bridewell riding 11th and 12th. And just ahead of them now is James Ellison, who's got the better of Gary Mason. There's Ellison, number 16, on the sorrymate.com Honda. He's moved through to 10th place.
Yep, and
so Scott Smart there.
Clinging on the Evo bike, yep.
So he's the second of the mirror.co.uk Evo bikes, ahead of Glenn Richards and Carl Harris. And as they dive down through the woods, the sunshine sprinkling through the woods. There's Tommy Bridewell on his debut ride for Rob McElnay's Motorpoint Yamaha team, crossing the line now. They're about 3 seconds behind the impressive Graham Gowland in 9th place.
Yeah.
So this, meanwhile, back at the front, there's a string of 6 riders, with Tommy Hill leading the way in the lengthening shadows of the afternoon. We're on the 13th lap of 15, just 2.5 laps to go in this final British Superbike race of the weekend.
And you get the impression that Laverty's not done yet.
Did you notice how he came on strong in about the last 2 or 3 laps of the first race this morning? And it looks to me as if he's capable of doing that again.
My prediction is, if he's going to make a pass, I think the place for Laverty to do it where he seems stronger is on the brakes at the end of Park Straight.
Yeah, that's the best bet.
Yeah.
So that's probably why Tommy Hill's putting everything at the moment into keeping him behind him as they just negotiate that ripple of bumps into that very narrow entrance into Hall Bends.
Yeah, and you've loads going on there. You know, your bike's going from right, left, right, and then you brake over there, and you're trying to change down the gear. Loads and loads and loads. You can't change down a gear if the bike's on its side. So it's all about sort of rhythm and timing through that section. And it's dead easy to get wrong, I've got to say.
Josh Brooks, 1:27.284. Brooks, the fastest man on track on that lap. And didn't he look good then? He was on a full 2-wheel drift as he flicked it over out of Coppice into Charlie's.
But he's not significantly quicker than Hill and Laverty. They both did their quickest lap of this race at just 1/10 of a second slower than Brooks. Yeah. So, you know, it's difficult to see where Brooks is going to be able to get past.
No, I think I get the impression he's just loving the fact he's living with them so consistently, lap in, lap out.
Yep. I've got to say though, if anybody can make a pass, anybody who's likely to have a go, it will be Josh Brooks. He's you know.
Yep. He was dangerously close to he was right on the white line and tickling the grass there on the descent to Mansfield, Josh Brooks. So he's certainly using a lot of tarmac and more and working hard.
He's there to thereabouts now.
And that was a mistake by Michael Laverty as he went, and I think that gave Brooks a chance to destroy that Swan Yamaha 1-2 because Laverty ran it wrong out of Mansfield. He just lost a bit of time and drive.
He didn't get the drivers, what he didn't get. Yeah, you're dead right.
So Michael Laverty suddenly nudged back to 3rd place, and Josh Brooks, well, you said he was the man who would have a go if anybody would, James.
Yeah.
And he's now pushed through into 2nd place, courtesy of a rare mistake by that man, Michael Laverty.
A lot of times around this Cadwell, because it's so difficult to get right consistently.
No, James,
he
dived a bit deep and just didn't get it turned and along the straight quick enough, and Josh needed no second invitation there.
Yeah, a lot of times you in Cadwell, because it is so exacting and so narrow and easy to make a mistake, a lot of times you get past it is because the rider in front that you're just trying to line up does make a little mistake, and you've got to pounce on them when they come.
The Swan Yamaha fastest lap on lap 14 out of, well, that's remarkable by Tommy Hill.
Yeah, it is.
And Tommy Hill, he's absolutely exuberant, 1:27.166. If he takes his 2nd victory of the day, that's a full house, 6 podium credits that he'll have collected for himself to take into the showdown in a fortnight's time, of course, at Donington Park. Josh Brooks will join him, so too will Shaky Byrne, Michael Laverty, Yuichi Kianari and Josh, and I mentioned Josh Brooks, haven't I? Yes. How many people do I want to squeeze into there?
No, say it again.
We're on the final lap. Tommy Hill, number 33, leads the way in a really terrific contest, hotly fought contest. Tommy now just has to get down this straight through Hall Bends, the hairpin and barn, to take his second race victory of the weekend. Behind him, Josh Brooks will be really well chuffed with this, having kept the relentless by Taz Suzuki right on the boil and finally split the Swan Yamahas. I don't think that'll trouble this man, Tommy Hill. He just hurdles across the line to take victory once again ahead of Josh Brooks, a thrilled Josh Brooks, elated with that. Laverty third, Byrne in fourth, Hickman and Kirkham. Yuichi Kianari dropped off a bit towards the end, and then there'll be a gap before Martin Jessup and Graham Gowland come through. Alistair Seeley congratulates his team. There's Martin Jessup, there's Gowland, number 81, far and away leader of the Evo class. And there's the second man, Scott Smart, crossing the line just behind Gary Mason in 13th overall. Glenn Richards there, number 45. He crosses the line in 14th place. He continues to dominate the mirror.co.uk Evo Championship. And Josh Brooks congratulates Michael Laverty, or should that be vice versa, as they go along Park Straight. And Tommy Hill can once more enjoy the plaudits of the crowd.
Yeah, Peter Hickman looking pleased with himself there, and so he should be. He's had two
fifth places today.
2 fifths, but
close fifths.
Yeah, kind of right with him. That's the thing you can take away from this meeting.
1:27.6, James. He was eventually his fastest lap. There's Sean Muir and Gary Eckerold enjoying the spoils of victory there. Gary Eckerold, of course, works 5 days a week. He takes all his holiday time to do this job, you know, for Tommy and Michael Laverty, because he works for the Williams Formula 1 team for 5 days of the week.
Loves his bikes though.
Son of
former World 350cc champ Johnny Eckerold.
I was going to say earlier, by the way, James, before I interrupted myself, Peter Hickman, 2 fifth places, but half a second off the fastest lap of the race that was set by this man, Tommy Hill, which is pretty impressive for Hickman and the Tyco Honda.
Especially when you consider that was the next to the last lap of Tommy Hill, when he did pull away a little bit for the best part of this race. Hickman was running the same times as the four riders in front.
You're right, because the last lap there for Tommy was a 27.6. So more molten rubber, this time courtesy of Josh Brooks and the relentless by Taz Suzuki.
Big rolling burnout, that's where you keep the front brake on a little bit and keep the throttle open and keep it spinning. Difficult to do because it's so easy if you get it wrong for the bike to come round and pitch you off at about 5 miles an hour.
Josh, you know how much he loves his motocross. Well, a guest today in the relentless Suzuki camp is the former British motocross champion Gordon Crockstar Crockard.
And
he lives at the moment. Josh is living at Crockstar's place. I bet there's some fun and palaver goes up there, especially when they go on to off-road bikes.
I was at Mallory Park doing some testing once on a Superbike, and Gordon Crockard came and had a run out on a Super Sport bike, and I
bet he was quite impressive.
He was very quick. The lines were completely wrong, but he was leaning over and really good on the brakes and very aggressive. I think he would have been quite good if he'd have carried on, to be honest.
Now Tommy's taking a break. I'm not quite sure
he's
what
seen
for.
Somebody. I think he's seen somebody. Look, he thinks he's going to be chucking his.
His knee sliders are going to go. They peel off. They're velcroed on.
They're difficult to get off.
They're difficult to get off. And I think he's just about to find that out. Look, he's saying to the marshal,
get your fingers, you need to get your fingers right underneath them is what you need. You dig your fingers right in.
I hope this lad's got strong fingers. It's not going to happen, Tom. This could be the longest lasting celebration we've seen. And will someone get some knee sliders or will they not? Look, the race safe marshals definitely oh dear me, now that hefty lady is going to make a difference. Cadwell Park, race 3 of the MCE British Superbike Championship. Tommy Hill takes victory from Josh Brooks, finally splitting the Swan Yamahas and pushing Michael Laverty down to third. Shaky Byrne, HM Plant Honda, used that as a very entertaining test session, finishes fourth ahead of Peter Hickman on the Tyco Honda. John Kirkham, Samsung Crescent Suzuki, finishes sixth. Yuichi Kianari, HM Plant Honda, is seventh ahead of Martin Jessup on the Rapid Solicitors Batham's Ducati. Another spectacularly good ride by Graham Gowland, who's won several of the Evo races on the trot in recent meetings for Team WFR Honda, with James Ellison rounding out the top 10. 11th for Tommy Bridewell's Motorpoint Yamaha. Gary Mason, MSS Colchester Kawasaki. Scott Smart, second in the Evo class on the Moto Rapido Ducati, ahead of Glenn Richards, Carl Harris, Barry Burrell, James Hillier and Patrick Muff, with Hudson Kenner and the PR Racing Kawasaki improving to 19th place in his debut on that bike, ahead of Aaron Zanotti. And the championship standings would appear to look rather like this. These are the 6 riders who will go ahead and contest the showdown at Donington Park, Silverstone and Brands Hatch. Shane Byrne, HM Plant Honda, Tommy Hill, Swan Yamaha, John Hopkins, Samsung Crescent Suzuki, Michael Laverty, Swan Yamaha, Josh Brooks, Relentless Suzuki by Taz, and Yuichi Kianari, HM Plant Honda. That is rather tidily 2 Hondas, 2 Yamahas and 2 Suzukis, ahead of John Kirkham in 7th, 8th for Gary Mason, MSS Colchester Kawasaki, 9th Michael Rutter, and in 10th place Peter Hickman's Tyco Honda. The race looked like this. Shaky Byrne got a dynamic start, but then suddenly found himself with a bit of air under the front wheel, had to just tickle back the throttle. Michael Laverty took advantage and surged to the front. And then Shaky Byrne grabbed the advantage, but only briefly. Oh, he did just cut back across at Chris Kerb to hold on to first place as they headed down the hill to the gooseneck. Tommy Hill back in 4th place. And then out went Alex Lowe's, just got it a bit too fast on the exit to park. And then a big moment to Shaky Byrne, furious with himself as he has to miss the chicane and drop back in 4th place just in front of Peter Hickman. Tommy Hill, his favourite passing manoeuvre was to dip down into the hairpin and get the better of teammate Michael Laverty, but Laverty was very, very strong on the brakes down the back straight into park. That's where he retaliated to retake the lead. And then whenever Tommy tried it after that, Michael would just dip back underneath and say thank you very much and retake the lead into barn. And that happened until that moment where Tommy Hill surprised Laverty. Laverty wasn't in a position to retaliate, and Tommy Hill then had the advantage as they dropped down onto the finishing straight. And then a mistake by Michael Laverty, a rare one, as they came through Mansfield. He dropped down a bit deep, a bit late getting onto the straight. Josh Brooks burst through. Tommy Hill took victory. 2nd place for a delighted Josh Brooks ahead of Michael Laverty, Shaky Byrne and Peter Hickman. And once again, the Swan Yamahas on top.
And we are here with our 3rd place finisher in the Mirror.co.uk Evo class. It is Glenn Richards. Glenn, 2nd trip of the day for you to the podium. How was it?
I didn't quite have the pace, I'll be honest with you. I didn't have the pace today, and a little bit frustrating really, but I don't think it's a boy, I think it's more me, so I'll take nothing away from the boys. They rode really well, Graham and Scott, and you know, Graham's been very fast all weekend, so he deserves both of these wins, that's for sure. We'll see. I mean, we're off to Donington and Silverstone next, which are tracks that I really, really like, and you know, hopefully we can improve a little bit, but it's certainly good for the championship, and obviously with one eye on that, it hasn't been a bad weekend really.
No, bag full of points, just what you wanted. We'll let you go to the podium. Well done. That's our 3rd place finisher, Glenn Richards. 2nd place finisher is Scott Smart. Well, Scott, the race out there, you said hopefully you could go one better. Wasn't quite to be out there this time.
No, I hung on for quite a few laps, but unfortunately Graham was just a little bit too quick. But biggest problem once again is getting picked off by the open class bikes. So it was Mason and Ellison just got past me, and then I could run with them, but there was nothing I could do about getting back past. It was like, come on, make a mistake, guys. And unfortunately everybody at this level is good enough to not make big, wide open mistakes. So yeah, it was good. Thanks to the Motor Rapido boys, they did a good job. And it's been a busy weekend, three races. We're going to sleep well.
As a rider then, you keep saying this about the Evo bikes and the open class bikes. Totally understand your point, but next year, everybody's on Evo, Scott.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I fancy that. So roll on next year, and I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, we've got a bit of a head start with the ECU, and the other guys have got a bit of a head start with the engines. So really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great to have BSB back to one level playing field that's a bit achievable. So, but I'd also like to end my note and dedicate my race. I'd like to have won it for him, but unfortunately we lost a good friend in the paddock, Ben Gautry, today. He was a good friend of mine, and one of those little kids that anybody who met him would always be touched by him. He was just one of the nicest little guys. So it's a real shame, and I'd like to say all my condolences to his family, friends, MWR team, Mark Webster, all the people around him, and especially obviously his direct family. So sad loss for the paddock.
Very nicely done. We'll let you go to the podium on that note, and obviously we echo those sentiments entirely. Let's have a word now with our race winner, Graham Gowland. Once again, you were up there with the open class boys, Graham, and really showing your stuff.
Yeah, got a really good start, got pushed a little bit wide in the first corner and kind of suffered a few places there. But Yeah, no, really good race. Happy for the team. You know, it's been 3 good results again this weekend. The championship's looking a lot better, so looking forward to the rest of the season.
Okay, we'll let you go to the podium. Very well done.
Thank you. Cheers.
Right now, third place finisher, Michael Laverty. That race there, wow. I mean, there was passing in places I've never seen passing before. It looked like every time you set it up into Hawley was underneath you, you're underneath him, and you're coming under pressure from Josh as well. How was it?
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't really know Josh was there. I was just worrying about battling for the win and kicking myself because I made a mistake 2 laps to go just out of Mansfield, lit it up, and then I went too deep into the chicane and that let Josh get past me, and that was it. My chance of the win was gone because about 4 or 5 laps before I could have passed Tommy into park any time I wanted, and I thought, nah, I'll save it for the last lap because he was so much better than me in the woods and I was better than him through the first 2 sectors of the track, so I thought I had him covered, but I'm kicking myself for making the mistake. But it was a good race, you know. It showed we're, I'm going to put up a fight and I'm in there for the championship. Just a pity, it would have been nice to have won that. You know, either me or Tommy could have won it, but he came out on top today. But I'm sure we'll get our share over the showdown.
Sum up your weekend for me, because I guess coming here, people were saying Michael Laverty is in 4th, 5th place in the top 6. Now, do you think Michael Laverty has leapfrogged?
Yeah, Michael Laverty is a championship contender. I had been slightly overlooked over the last few rounds, you know, but I deserved that because I wasn't knocking on the door of the wins. But this weekend I showed what we're made of and showed that we're going to be in there for the championship fight for sure. And we're not going to go down without a fight. So looking forward to it. If it's races like that over the next 3 rounds, it'll be awesome.
Love it. We're looking forward to it as well. We'll let you go to the podium. Michael Laverty, very well done. Now, Josh Brooks. Now, that was a hell of a ride there towards the end there, Josh. Absolutely barging through, just what we want to see. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. I'm not normally that happy to come second, but we've had a tough weekend, and I've got the best team in the paddock, and now I'm just trying to ride to equal their standards. And I was middle of that race. I was starting to maybe drop a little bit in a few spots, made a few mistakes, and then the battle between the 2 boys in front sort of threw me a lifeline. And then I actually started feeling more confident with the last few laps to go, and my bike was working really well at the end when it seemed like they were starting to get a bit of wheel spin, and especially Michael. He made a mistake too, a couple of corners back from the end there, and I was able to slip up the inside and take the second, so really happy.
Setting out your stall now for the title for this year?
Sorry, say again?
Are you setting out your stall? The performances here, especially in this race, do you feel that was more chest puffing, muscle flexing, ready for the title fight?
No, I try the same in every race. We just seem to find a little bit something better than the previous race. We were suspicious of the tyre not really working up to its standards, so we didn't make any changes to the bike. We just put fresh rubber in and went again with the full fuel load again, and the bike worked better. So I mean, there's a little bit of a variation from race to race, but we're able to run better speed in that final one, and just really happy to get the second.
Can't wait to see you flying at Donington. Well done, Josh.
Thank you.
There we go, 2nd place finisher, Josh Brooks, and now our race winner, Tommy Hill. Well, not a bad weekend at all for you, Tommy. So nearly the triple. You'll have to settle for the double.
Yeah, fantastic weekend for Swan Yamaha. But for me, yeah, put a big smile on my face. I mean, Cadwell was always one of them tracks that you come to, and it's quite emotional, really. I'm not from up these neck of woods. I'm from down south, but it's pretty emotional when you go around there and do your lap of honour, and everyone's going mad. So it's good to get the British support to try and get a British champion this year. Obviously, on the other scale of things, my thoughts go out with Ben Galtry from the Superstock 600. We've had it here before. I got my first race win in 2005, and we lost Chris Jones as well. So upsetting as well, because obviously everyone's out there doing their thing, and it is quite emotional, because there's a lot of people here today, and I've had a good weekend and some race wins, and so my thoughts go out to his family as well. Thank you.
Very well said. We'll let you go to the podium on that note. Obviously, emotions are running high here, and a lot of riders having Ben Galtry in their minds. Right, let's take a quick look up to the podium, but before we do, we'll do that via the Speedy Fastest Lap. Jack will take us through it.
Tommy Hill set the fastest lap on the penultimate lap of that final MCE Insurance British Superbike race of the weekend in front of this vast 50,000 plus crowd here, and he's not riding through a heavy fog there. He was entering the burning rubber smoke left by Josh Brooks. So 8 points in the Speedy Fastest Lap League table then for Tommy Hill now. 5 for Shaky Byrne, 3 for Yuichi Kianari, 2 apiece for John Kirkham and Michael Laverty, and 1 for John Hopper Hopkins. On the podium then, in 3rd place we've got Michael Laverty, 2nd place Josh Brooks, and the winner, congratulating them both, is Tommy Hill for Swan Yamaha. Tommy Hill, now 26 years old, and it's 6 years since he first stepped onto the top deck of the podium at a British Superbike race. And and it was here at Cadwell Park, of course. The red-head lady from NC Insurance is Jules Morris, awarding the trophies to the three fellas. And Tommy Hill there holds it up in front of the massed ranks of spectators on the field, the steep field opposite the main straight. So for Tommy Hill, he takes his 12th British Superbike victory. He takes 3 podium credits. He's in a very, very strong position for the showdown, which will commence in a fortnight's time at Donington Park.
Championship leader Tommy Hill.
Congratulations then to Michael Laverty, Josh Brooks and Tommy Hill. What a great weekend, as Tommy Hill said, for the Swan Yamaha team. If he didn't race, he'd be a builder with his family business, Hilson's, with his dad and his kid brother. But he's a racer, and he's a racer amongst racers. Tommy Hill will be right in the mix for the showdown for the 2011 British Superbike Championship. And so will those guys on each side of him. They are 50% of those top 6 that will be going head-to-head at Donington, Silverstone and Brands Hatch. Now, these are the podium credits, 29. This is how it finishes off then. So Tommy Hill will go in with 529 points into Donington Park. Shaky Byrne with 522. Hopper Hopkins with 518, Laverty with 510, Brooks 509 and Chianari 508. That is how close it will be. The other guys who've earned podium credits: Stuart Easton has 5, Michael Rutter 5, John Kirkham 3, Peter Hickman 2 and Gary Mason 2.